You know, there has been a lot of headlines in recent years about the Western Heights School District right here in the metro.
Yeah, the state school board forcefully took over control, a move that a district judge ruled once again was legal. News 9's Augusta McDonald investigates.
The state takeover comes after years of relentless digging and pushing by parents who tell me if you don't pay attention, this could happen to your school too.
You are wasting our money. Resign now. You're a disgrace.
Your lawyers are snakes.
For all of this hard work to get to that point, to where finally somebody said, we hear you, and we're gonna try to help you. It was just the most amazing feeling.
Amy Boone is a mom who about 2 years ago realized something wasn't right at her child's school. In July of 2019, Superintendent Mannix Barnes was hired and paid one of the highest superintendent salaries in Oklahoma, a $220,000 base salary, 80 days of paid leave per year plus other perks. That's at least twice the salary of the previous superintendent, Joe Kitchens. Barnes had no previous experience in education and became alternatively certified in the months before the superintendent's position opened up. Boone says this was a red flag. She and other parents uncovered a long and mutually beneficial relationship between Barnes and school board president Robert Everman. The two worked together and for each other, served together on several boards and organizations, and were linked politically. According to attorneys with the State Department of Education, after Barnes's appointment, teachers quit in droves. The district had one of the highest rates of absenteeism in the state. There was financial mismanagement of bond money, and Western Heights was the only district statewide that had no in-person option for the 2020 to 21 school year.
The most important thing that seems to have been forgotten about is these kids.
Parents, staff, and community members hit the streets, gathering 1,000 signatures for a citizen's petition, asking the state auditor to investigate and report their findings to the state board. In April, the state board voted unanimously to put the Western Heights School District on probation, a move community members hoped would bring a swift end to problems at the school. Instead, a week later, attorneys representing Western Heights sued the State Board of Ed. And in June, the Western Heights Board voted to continue Barnes' employment in their expected annual review. Barnes' current contract had another year left and was not up for renewal. But then, months later, community members discovered something unexpected. A new 3-year contract was signed on June 22nd by Everman, Barnes, the board clerk LaToya Johnson, and board attorney Jerry Colclasure. A proposal for a new contract was never on a board agenda. The new contract had slight changes, including one critical word. Per the terms of the previous contract, if Barnes was fired, he would receive a severance pay of 1 year's base salary or for the rest of the contract, whichever is less. In the new contract, the agreement reads, whichever is more, meaning if Barnes was terminated, he would be paid out nearly $700,000. The state board suspended Barnes' education credential 2 days later on an emergency basis.
Western Heights challenges whether or not Ms. Hoffmeister or the State Board of Education has the authority.
A contentious and expensive legal battle ensued over the course of the summer and threatened the opening of the school this fall. In purchase orders obtained by News 9 records requests, legal costs charged to the district total over $350,000 since April. But parents prevailed in August, a district attorney affirming the state's authority, and law enforcement escorted state officials onto campus.
When people just run unchecked and there's no accountability and there's no repercussions, people just get comfortable and do what they want.
School board members at Western Heights serve 5-year terms, and in Oklahoma, there's no way to recall a school board member. According to our analysis of voting records, the district school board seats have decades of uncontested elections with low voter turnout. In April of 2019, just 67 people voted in the school board election.
I mean, school boards and administrations need to take note.
Since then, the community is working to boost voter turnout and change who sits on the board. In April of 2021, over 500 people voted in an election where community-backed board member Brianna Flatley won. And the next school board election has already been decided. Last week, only one candidate filed to run for the open seat, Darren Duncan, who's backed by the community. After years of work, rallies, protests, research, the community says they're retaking their school one seat at a time.
What these kids have lost over the last year, they can't get that back. It's time for them to be brought back to the forefront, and it's time for us to, kind of embrace them and say, you know what, you guys, you matter. And all the stuff that we did it for you.
We have more details about this investigation in this article in the News 9 app. At Western Heights, Augusta McDonald, Oklahoma's own News 9.
And we reached out to the attorney representing the board and Barnes. They tell us, quote, the board and Mr. Barnes firmly believe that they are the current victims of power-hungry political leaders who are using their positions and staff to advance their political aspirations at this local school district's expense and harm.